I want to talk about one of your famous scientists. Once again, it's Einstein. Einstein actually quarreled with quantum physicists in later years. Einstein did not believe in potentials. Einstein was more empirical. And yet, I am telling you that this man was the first quantum physicist. And we do this by saying what he did was to show you that something you thought was absolutely steady and empirical and would not be changeable was changeable. So in physics, especially that which you walk around in and call reality, there are certain things that behave certain ways and they're not changeable. They can't be. It wouldn't be your reality if they changed. And Einstein came along and showed you one of the most stable things that you believe planetarily was changeable. When Einstein showed his theory of relativity, it was about time. It was about something so empirical, so steady for you, that you can measure time by the nanosecond. You've worked out ways of cutting time so that it is so precise, you know by the absolute piece of it what time it is. Because it never changes. But it did. Einstein presented something that I'm going to turn right around and show you is yours. He postulated that if a man got in a spaceship and went the speed of light, and he stayed out for perhaps a year, going the speed of light, and returned to the planet, he would be a year older and the planet would have aged more than he did. So by going very fast, he slowed down his time relative to where he came from. Now, he didn't know that, and neither did Earth, until they met together, and then it was obvious. This rewrote the whole idea that something you thought was never going to change was variable. Now, I want you to just stop right there. That's quantum physics. Because it's going to rewrite what you think cannot be changed. Let's get back to the speed relationship to time. In 3 dimensions, in the thinking process that you have, even in 4 dimensions, you linearize everything. It has to be that way for you. It has to make sense for a human being. So speed to you is defined as the amount of duration between points. If you're driving a fast car, the duration will be shorter from A to B. An airplane, shorter from A to B. You go faster, the duration is shorter. And every time you mention speed, it's in a straight line. Now let me give you some what I call sideways logic. Could you go as fast in a circle? The answer is yes. Ignore that which you think is centrifugal force, which is not defined right. If you were to go in a circle instead of a straight line, could you still go fast? Of course. So now let's go very fast in a circle instead of a straight line. You have that picture in your mind. Now let's start to reduce the circle. And reduce and reduce and reduce and reduce and reduce until the circle is your cellular structure. You've heard the term vibrating at a higher level. Vibration to you is an oscillation, a back and forth motion. It's not, it's a circle. You are vibrating in a circle, and in this energy becoming multidimensional, your cellular structure is speeding up. Are you starting to get a picture? What would happen if your cellular structure started to speed up a lot more than someone else's? Using the theory of relativity in its purest form, ignoring some of the speed limits that Einstein has put there, can you see it would be possible for your clock to slow down and everyone around you is going faster? This results in a much longer lifespan, dear one. I just gave you the quantum reason why a high vibrating soul will live longer. It's because you change time with your consciousness. Now, I've done this so that you can relate to what you already know. So it's not some high idea in metaphysics that has no grounding to it. Einstein showed it to you. But you're doing it at a cellular level. I'm going to give you a piece of information that I've never revealed before, that is going to be on the planet and known shortly. Inventors are starting to move into a multi-dimensional reality. Even if they don't know it, they're starting to use some principles that are multi-dimensional. Now let me give you a paradigm that you are used to. And that is this: everything that works, that is mechanical, has to have a power supply. It really boils down to fire. There has to be fire. Heat is often needed, whether it's in steam or another way, in order to propel something. Fire equals light. Fire equals computing. Fire equals this, that. It all boils down to the elements of the planet fueling something you have created. Now you'll get really good at efficient use of fire. That is a metaphor. But it still has to have a power supply. So the paradigm that I'm giving you is that in 3D, in order to have something that would appear to be energy, you have to have that which starts it somehow, a little or a lot. That is the paradigm of 3 dimensions. It has to come from something that is in front of you in order to develop it into something else. And you're getting, as I say, very good. What about quantum energy? Quantum energy is not linear. Now, if I told you it didn't need a power supply, I would be wrong. But let me tell you this: it does not need a 3-dimensional power supply. Here is an axiom that the quantum physicists and inventors will know. In order to have quantum energy, to work with it, to develop it, to use it, there has to be a quantum source. Period. You cannot create quantum energy or build anything using it without a source that is similar of quantumness. Let me define the word quantum. As we use it today, it means multi-dimensional. It is not the standard definition of quantum as physics would have. We are using it differently. It means multi-dimensional. Multi-dimensional energy of any form that is developed on this planet must have a multi-dimensional source. They're even going to call it a push-pull energy. Because when they realize the dynamics of multidimensionality, it's going to work in a push-pull way. In linearity, one power supply simply pushes in one direction to fuel something that then does something. There's no push-pull. The closest push-pull energy you have was developed through a quantum mind called alternating current. And that is push-pull. If there's an engineer in the room, you'll chuckle because you know I'm right. You look at the phase relationships of alternating current, and it's push-pull. Tesla knew about this, and it wasn't time. A quantum energy needs a quantum source. Now, before we go to the next step, where would you get a quantum energy? Do you know there are quantum biologists? If there are quantum biologists, that tells you something about your biology. What if it were quantum? There are quantum sources all over the planet. Some of the biggest, the absolute largest energies on this planet sit there and look at you and work 24/7, and they're quantum. Gravity is quantum. Magnetics is quantum. Light is quantum. The sources of quantum energy and development are with those three. Plus one, you. If you have a quantum biology, that means that you can do quantum things. The source is inside your DNA. Now, this is what has created the ability for you to vibrate faster with consciousness. Do you know that if you vibrate fast enough and your consciousness is high enough and you can integrate with the creative source, what happens? Your DNA starts to work at a very efficient level. You go past 44, 55, you get into 80s and 90s. And this now will explain something very controversial. The masters of this planet had vibrating DNA in the 90s, and they controlled physics. They could change one thing into another. They could work with life force. They could make massless objects. And they can do it because they are one with that which is around them, with a fast, high vibrating DNA. The quantum engine is already there inside you, and this explains why this new energy and the magnetic field is able to allow you to go further than you've ever gone before. A quantum engine, which is your biology, will create quantum thought, higher thinking inventions, because you think out of 3D. Many of you will outlive your families. There'll come a time when humanity looks at the few who are outliving the many. And you will again face the objection that you're using magic, not understanding that what you're using is the love of God. It's always been there. This is just one of many things that we'd love to share more with you. But if I wanted to summarize this portion of the message, it would be this. Everything that you wish to accomplish personally within you can be done using a quantum engine that is already in place and waiting to be started. The consciousness of thought, the emotions of love, benevolence, and compassion are catalysts for the quantum engine. Would you like me to say that again? The attributes of love, compassion, and benevolence are the catalysts for the quantum engine. That's what starts it. Fear will stop it. It creates a higher vibrating human being. Just like Einstein says, you surpass some of the attributes of physics as you know them when you start to vibrate higher. Did you know that disease is a lower vibration? Did you know that if your cellular structure vibrates higher, a lower vibrating disease cannot remain? Am I getting through? It's physics. It's the physics of consciousness. Interesting, isn't it, that of all the inventions that you're going to have in these next decades, of the quantum things that are going to occur, the one that you will use first is within you. Because you have to kickstart that one in order to have the others. Because these are going to come out of high consciousness thinking. And that is going to create engrams and patterns of thought that are going to connect to a universal source that gives you perfect physics, not limited physics as you live in. The inventions are in you, waiting to be connected to the source that created them.